In the headlines today, in Greece, civil servants have started a 24-hour strike demanding their government take back its austerity programme. State offices, schools and universities were shut down throughout the day, and hospitals were running on emergency staff as doctors walked off the job. All planes flying to and from Greece were grounded for hours after air traffic controllers joined the protests. Athens has imposed massive spending cuts to make up for the country's growing budget deficit, but unions say the measures are oppressing the economy, leading to more layoffs. The government says it has no other choice but to carry on with the austerity programme. The economic policy has caused a wave of general strikes and demonstrations in Greece this year. Well, Rodney Shakespeare is a professor of binary economics and he joins us now on the line from London for more. Professor, thanks for joining us. First of all, Greece has been the hardest hit by the recession in Europe. How did it reach the point it's in now?
Well, it reached the point that it basically was deceived by Goldman Sachs, which encouraged it to put up over large levels of government debt and then to hide that debt. And of course, those chickens are coming home to roost. Could I say that the Greek people are profoundly right to protest and in some way perhaps to lead the European protest? But they must come forward with a simple new big policy which not only cuts their national debt but will provide them with the jobs they say urgently need. That policy is to demand that either the National Bank or in the case of a European country in the Euro, the European Bank provide interest-free loans for the great big public capital projects, for water, sewage, roads, bridges, hospitals and environmental projects. Now, if they do that, that ends the need to borrow at interest from the corrupt banking system. These loans would be repaid and cancelled, leaving behind in physical reality the capital project. And at the same time, of course, the spending gets the jobs and gets the security, material security, which the Greek people need. So I say to the Greek people, you're standing up, fine, but you haven't got a simple, positive policy to challenge the banking system and which will actually provide you for the jobs. So I say to them, go for it, demand that the European Bank provide interest-free loans for the purposes of the public capital projects of Greece.
Well, looking at a broader scale now, there seems to be no end in sight for austerity protests across Europe. Will you think there be a collective response by European governments, or the continent must brace for more demonstrations?
The European governments, like my own government, like Prime Minister Cameron in this country, are saying they have no alternative. That is because they are completely controlled by a corrupt banking system, which always wants to lend money at interest if it can. You've got to stop these people. And you've got to say to the European government that there is a way forward. It is when the national banks or when the European Bank actually provide the big money supply, interest-free, for the real economy, the loans to be repaid and cancelled. It's up to the people of Europe now to take the lead and show the governments that there is another way forward. If they don't do this, then the people of Europe, e.g. the people of Greece, will end up being debt slaves forever.
Right, and in Britain, where you are, as the last question, Mr. Shakespeare, there are reports that Britain is also expected to back down on its earlier spending cut promises. So how would that affect, do you think, its efforts to reduce debts and jumpstart the economy?
Well, yes, the government is frankly getting in a bit of a mess and is looking as though it's going to back down. But it is still in the situation that, in theory, according to their thinking, they only have austerity. But what we need in the UK is the same demand. We can use our national bank to actually put out interest-free loans for public capital projects. This policy can actually be extended much more widely. I won't go into that. But the people of Europe must give a lead to the world and demand that they start to get interest-free loans from their national banks for the big public capital spending, and at the same time that will cut the national debt because you can use the same mechanism to actually get rid of the national debt.
Rodney Shakespeare, Professor of Binary Economics, thanks very much, sir, for joining us there on the line from London.